Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaः. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadanti Svabhadam Bhante Shri Yuta Padakamalam
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, आवाज आपकी बहुत क्लियर नहीं आ रही,
Vaishnava
बहुत कम आ रही है।
मेरी आवाज बहुत कम आ रही है मतलब
वो आप ठीक।
कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. So in the last session we have seen chapter 8. So in chapter 8 we have seen Kunti Maharani prayers. We have seen how um, Parikshit Maharaj was saved by Lord Krishna in the womb of Uttara. Right? So now, after the Kurukshetra war, so the Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was feeling very much worried that because of him, that there were so many people who were killed in the war of Kurukshetra. But anyways, so after the war, so they just they go and meet Bhishma Pita, who is lying on the beds of arrows. Right? So Suta Goswami himself, right? So now the conversation is going between Shaunika Rishi and Suta Goswami. So now in this chapter, Suta Goswami himself, he mentions how Bhishma Pita passes away, right? So in front of the Lord, how he gives away his body. Suta uvacha iti bhita prajadroha sarvadharma vivitsaya tato vinasham pragat yatra deva vratopata. So being afraid of having killed so many subjects from the battle of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthir went to the scene of the massacre. There, Bhishma Dev was lying on the beds of arrows, about to pass away. Right? So this is how the 9th chapter starts. So Suta Goswami he explains how Maharaj Yudhishthir is very much afraid, because of him. He has seen a war in front of him, which went for about 18 days, and millions and millions of people have been killed from both the parties, and there are very handful of people who have remained after the Kurukshetra war. And in that massacre of the war field, so they go and meet Bhishma Pita, right? So we know that Bhishma Pita is lying on the beds of arrows, right? So a description, from shloka number 1 till 7, the descriptions are given, like who are present near Bhishma Pita, right? So the King Yudhishthira Maharaj, along with all his brothers, 5 Pandavas, so he goes near Bhishma Pita, and it is also mentioned that there are so many sages from around the universe, from around the Brahmanda, they come and assemble near Bhishma Pita, because everybody knows that Bhishma Pita is going to give away his body, right? So there is a mention in the shlokas who are present. So who are present? Parvata Muni is present, Narad Muni, Dauma, Vyasa, Bharajvat, Rishi, Vashishta, Asita, Gautama, Atriya, Kaushika, no? Sukadeva Goswami is present, Kashyap Muni is there, Angira is there, right? So it is very, very important for us to know that no, Suta Goswami is giving a description of all the personalities who are present there, right? So they are all great, great personalities within the Brahmanda who are personally present there to witness like what would now happen, right? So the Kurukshetra war is over, and now Bhishma Pita is lying on the bed of arrows, and everybody is eager to see now what Bhishma Pita would do, because Bhishma Pita is not an ordinary personality, right? So in ninth shloka, Suta Goswami mentions that Bhishma Pita is one of the 8 Vasus, right? So 8 Vasus are a category of demigods, right? So how we have 12 Adityas, or we have the form of Rudra, no? The form of Lord Shiva in different demigods. So like this, these 8 Vasus are also very famous, right? So now we can go back to the story of Bhishma Pita, right? So everybody know that how Bhishma Pita is taking the side of Kauravas during this war field, and now after the end of the Kurukshetra war, he is about to give away his body. But the life of Bhishma Pita is very, very interesting, and no, it starts actually with uh, episode which happened in Brahmaloka, right? So there was once a yajna being conducted in Brahmaloka, and usually in this Brahmaloka, it is inhabited by great rishis, right? So there are so many sages who do a lot of tapasya in the Brahmaloka, right? And when this yajna is happening in this Brahmaloka, among like Lord Brahma also is present. So there is one king called Mahabhishek, right? So King Mahabhishek is a demigod. He is taking part in the yajna. But during this yajna, also is a present personality, Mother Ganga. So this Mahabhishek gets attracted to Mother Ganga, and this is happening during the yajna. So Lord Brahma, he observes this, and after the yajna is completed, he personally calls King Abhishek, Mahabhishek, and Ganga, and he tells that now how it is inappropriate for them to behave like this in midst of this yajna, and how Brahmalok is not for them to inhabit it. So that's why he curses them that no, that they take birth in earth, on earth, and then they can continue whatever the attraction they have felt. So in that way, King Mahabhishek, he takes birth as King Shantanu, right? So King Shantanu is one of the king who comes in the lineage of Kauravas, right? So this King Shantanu, now Mahabhishek is taken birth as King Shantanu, and Mother Ganga, she takes birth as a beautiful woman on this earthly planet. So once this King Shantanu, when he is going for hunting, so he sees Mother Ganga, but he doesn't know that she is Mother Ganga, and he gets attracted to her. And then he proposes that he wants to marry her. Then Mother Ganga, she keeps 2 conditions that for him, for King Shantanu to marry her, that he should not speak very rudely to her, and whatever she does, he should not question her. Right? So these are the 2 conditions she has for King Shantanu to get married. And King Shantanu, without any hesitation, he just agrees to those 2 conditions, and then he marries Mother Ganga. But beware, but Shantanu doesn't know that she is Mother Ganga. But Ganga knows that from their previous birth, their attraction has been there. And now in this birth on the earthly planet, so they're getting married to fulfill their desires. So once they get married, they beget children. So once the first child is born, so Mother Ganga, what she does, she picks the first child and she uh, drowns the child in the river Ganga, right? So Shantanu Maharaj is very astonished to see such act, because how can a mother can do such an act to their own son? And obviously Shantanu also, being father, was no not very happy, and in fact he was very much astonished. But because he has to keep his promise, so he didn't question anything to Mother Ganga, nor he spoke rudely. But it happened number of times. So there was second child born, and Mother Ganga, she does the same thing. She takes up the boy, the baby, and she drowns in the river Ganga. So like that, third baby, fourth baby, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So at last, King Shantanu couldn't take this too far, right? So he was very much angry. He couldn't understand why his wife was doing so, like drowning their own sons in in river. So then he speaks very rudely to his wife Mother Ganga, and says like, how you can do such an act? No, every time you get a child, we get a child, you just kill them by drowning them in the river. So this time I will not let it happen. So if I have to forgo you, so I'm ready to forgo you, but I will not let you kill this child. Then Mother Ganga, she says, okay, now that because you have spoken rudely to me, and now that you are questioning me, so I will go away. But before I go away, I'll tell you that why I am doing this. It is not that I'm no purposefully trying to kill them. And she says, I am not even killing them actually. So then she reveals that how she is actually Mother Ganga, who has taken a form on the earthly planet, and she explains to him that how they got attracted in their previous janma in Brahmaloka, and how Shantanu is not able to recollect, right? So then she says that all the seven sons, or even the eighth son, so she says that all these eight sons are the eight Vasus. And then she explains the story behind why the demigods, eight Vasus, have to take birth on the earthly planet. Then she narrates a story of how uh, uh, Vasishta Muni. So when Vasishta Muni, he was doing meditation, so Vasishta Muni had a Surabhi cow called Kamadhen. So Vasishta Muni, he could serve so many kings, so many of his guests because of this Kamadhen, right? So there is also an episode about Vasishta Muni and uh, another famous sage. So when Vishwamitra Muni, right. So when Vishwamitra Muni, and he was a king, and when he visited Vasishta Muni along with all his army, he was surprised to see how Vasishta Muni was able to feed all the guests. They were about lakhs of soldiers, but still being a Muni, like being a sage, living in a small hut, still he was able to provide so many facilities to all his soldiers. So like that, there are so many stories. So here, so once when Vasishta Muni was meditating and he had his Kamadhenu, that time these eight Vasus along with their wife, they come across. And then one of the Vasus, like the eight Vasus wife, she says that, no, this cow is so beautiful. I want it. No, can you get it for me? So then the eighth Vasu, so they make a plan to steal the Kamadhen. And while in the process, they get caught red-handed by Vasishta Muni. And then Vasishta Muni, he becomes very angry. He sees that the eight Vasus who are demigods, they are behaving like a normal human being. And then he curses them that no, you are not fit to be in this what is it, Satyaloka, and then you would have to take birth in the earthly planet as humans. and then you can do all this nonsense of stealing and all. So that is a curse he gives to the eight Vasus. And all the eight Vasus, they realize their mistake and they beg pardon, right? So they beg for mercy to Vasishtha Muni. And Vasishtha Muni, being very soft-hearted, he forgives them. He says that now I have that curse, I cannot take back my curse, but I will shorten your life. So the moment you take birth on the earthly planet, immediately you will come back. So it will be like a momentary stay in the earthly planet. So you will not even realize, right? But Vasishtha Muni says, because this eighth Vasu, he took his advice of his wife, and to satisfy his wife, he started the plan to steal, and you just helped him, so he would stay for longer. And then Vasishtha Muni says, because he was trying to fulfill the desire of his wife, then he would be bereft of any women association. So basically, he would not get married during this birth. So then Ganga Devi explains that how all the seven sons who were being born to King Shantanu and Mother Ganga, they were all the eight Vasus. And that's why when she was actually drowning them, she was not drowning them. In fact, she was returning them back to their original form. And now she told that now, because of the curse, this eighth Vasu has to stay for longer, because he is the one who has planned to steal, and that's the curse of Vasishtha Muni. Then King Shantanu, he says that because you are Mother Ganga, so why don't you take him with you, and after he grows, you return back, because in the upper planetary system, he would have an opportunity to associate with many rishis, munis, and demigods. And the environment is far better there than the earthly planet. So then Mother Ganga, she takes the eighth child and she gives him a very nice training. Because he is being blessed by all the demigods, so he gets the name Devavrata, right? And after long years, when Shantanu Maharaj, again, he's moving around for hunting, he observes that uh, river Ganga is flowing backwards. And he's astonished to see like how river Ganga is going backwards. And then after going to some distance, he observes that someone has blocked the way of Mother Ganga with arrows, and then he has having so much of potency that the Mother Ganga is flowing backwards. Then he is astonished to see that personality, and then he questions him. No, who are you? No, you look so effulgent. You look so what to say? You're a trained warrior that you are able to block the flow of Mother Ganga. And that moment, Mother Ganga again appears, and then Shantanu Maharaj, so he sees Mother Ganga after a long time, and then she explains that how that very much personality is their son Devavrata, and now she has come to return his son to him. So like that, now Devavrata, after having lived for about 30 years in the Satyaloka or the upper planetary system, so he comes back to the earthly planet. Then he starts staying with King Shantanu. Right? So King Shantanu, after the departure of Mother Ganga, so he's all again alone, right? So he doesn't marry after Mother Ganga leaves. And in those days, it is very prominent for Kshatriyas to have multiple wives. So now, during a visit to forest again, King Shantanu gets attracted to a girl, right? And her name is Satyavati. So now King Shantanu, after getting attracted to Satyavati, he proposes that he wants to marry her. And then Satyavati, she says that no, I need to ask my father about this proposal. Then Satyavati, along with King Shantanu, they go to her father. And her father, he's ready to, he initially he hesitates to give his daughter to King Shantanu. he would say that no, because we are of a very low social status, she may become your wife now, but after you get married to a royal queen, then she may not have importance in your palace or in your life. She may again have to lead a life of a dasi putra. Sorry, she would have to lead a life of a dasi. She might have to serve those queens, whom you would in future marry. Then King Shantanu says, no, I will not get married. Don't worry. No, I promise that I will never marry anyone except your daughter. Then Satyavati's father, he knew that no, King Shantanu had a son, Devavrata. Then he says that no, because Devavrata would marry and he would get children. So maybe no, you would install him as king, and then his what is it, progeny would become king. So I want no Satyavati's son to be the king, not the Devavrata, right? Then King Shantanu, he couldn't accept that condition, that no, he cannot make his son Devavrata as the king, and then Satyavati's son would be the king. So he leaves the place and then he comes to the palace. But because he was desiring to marry Satyavati, and because he was not able to fulfill the desire, so he becomes little remorse. No, he's morose and he's sad. And his son Devavrata, he could understand that no, my father is not happy today. There is some reason which is keeping him unhappy. Then he tries to ask King Shantanu and he begs him to tell what is the reason he's not happy. Then King Shantanu, he relates everything what has happened. Then Devavrata personally, he goes to Satyavati's house and then he speaks to his father saying that don't worry. No, if I am the problem, no, then I will give my word that no, I will not marry in this lifetime. So I'll remain as a brahmachari. So you need not have any worry that no, I would take up the no, kingly position or throne. So first he promises that he would not become the king, and then he's Satyavati's father. He has a doubt. Okay, you may not become the king, but when your child comes, so he will claim the right for the throne because you are the elder son, and then obviously your son who is the right person to take the throne. So maybe Satyavati's son might become king, but probably his son may not be become because your son may claim the throne, right? So that's when no Devavrata he promises that he would never marry. So the problem of the future generation is solved, right? So that's when the father of Satyavati or even the demigods, they were surprised that how Devavrata could give such a promise because it is unheard. So you would not hear any Kshatriya to be a brahmachari. No, it is not advised, nor it has happened anytime in the history of the universe. No, this is the first time a Kshatriya is promising that he would never marry, right? So that way, during that instance, he gets the name Bhishma because he has taken such a dreadful, what to say, vrata, right? Because he has taken a vow which nobody can think of. So first being a Kshatriya, being such a able person, he has been trained in the upper planetary system by Parasara Muni, sorry, by Parshuram himself, right? And he has been trained by so many sages in the higher planetary system, in all the Vedas. So he's a very, very qualified person actually to speak. No, there is none who is equal to him on the earthly planet. But still having so much of qualification, he still denies that I would not take the throne. That is the first vow. And second, being such a eligible person, like whom any girl would like to marry, but he himself takes a vow that I would not even marry. Right? So because of these two great promises which Devavrata takes, so he gets the name Bhishma. So from that moment, he would be known as Bhishma. All right. So now Satyavati, she gets married to King Shantanu. But there is another story about Satyavati. So long back before this episode would have happened. So Parasara Muni, no, actually Satyavati is a daughter of a fisherman. So his father, no, they're engaged with fishes. No? So they keep on bringing fishes from marketplace, from river. So being engaged in this activity, so she's always having the smell of the fish, always actually, right? So because of that smell, so nobody actually wants to associate or be near Satyavati because of that smell, right? And once so happened that Parasara Muni, who had to actually cross, the bank from one side to other. So Satyavati, she helps him. So before that, actually Satyavati's name was Matsyagandha, right? Because she was always smelling the fragrance of fish actually, right? So that's why she was named as Matsyagandha. So when she helped Parasar Muni, and while she was just passing, so Parasar Muni, he explains to Matsyagandha that the Supreme Lord, he has planned to take birth, as Vyasadeva, right? For a purpose. And that purpose is to write the scriptures. And then he asks her that, would you be able to help me in, begetting the Supreme Lord? And Satyavati, without any hesitation, no, she accepts the proposal of Parasar Muni. But she hesitates, saying that no, if I beget a child, then no one would ever marry me actually. But Parasara Muni promises that no, she would become impregnated and even deliver the boy immediately. No, immediately she would be able to deliver, and she would remain as a Kanya, right? There would be no bodily changes in her, and she would remain as she is at that moment. So Parasar Muni promises that. So with Parasar Muni, Satyavati, she begets a child who is none other than Vyasadeva. And she immediately gives birth to Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva, he uh, pays obeisance to both Parasar Muni and Satyavati, and he just leaves the place. And then Satyavati, she actually goes back to her house. And that's when Parasar Muni, he gives her name that Satyavati, because she stood for the right thing, right? Because she never hesitated that no, I'm an unmarried woman, and if I get a child, then what would be my future? What would the people say? How I would be able to get a husband and lead a very good life. So she didn't bother anything about that, and she was able to accept the proposal of Parasar Muni for a very higher cause, so that the Lord can advent through her actually. So from this episode, no, Parasar Muni, he renames, Matsyagandha to Satyavati because she stood for the Satya, that is the truth. And he also benedicts her that no, she would no longer smell the fragrance of fish, and she would actually smell very good actually, right? So this is a very past episode which has happened with Satyavati. So now coming back to the story where King Shantanu, he marries Satyavati with all the conditions they have. No, Shantanu Maharaj would not marry any other woman, and then Bhishma Pita would not marry, and then sorry, first he would not take the throne, he would not get married, and there's another third promise he makes actually. So what happens, Satyavati's father, he becomes afraid that no, you may not uh, get married, but probably you may try to kill my son's son, and you may take over the throne. So at that moment, Bhishma Pita promises that he would actually train and actually protect the king of the Hastinapur. So whoever is a king in the lineage of Satya, so he would keep on protecting them till he's alive on this planet Earth, right? So that is the third promise he makes, that he would protect the king of the Hastinapur. So that he would use all his skills and knowledge, whatever he has learned from Parshuram, in protecting the king of the Hastinapur. Right? So with Shantanu Maharaj and Satyavati, so they get two children. The two child's name are Chitragandha and Vichitra Virya. Right? So with Satyavati, Shantanu Maharaj, he begets two child. So now Shantanu Maharaj, he always keeps them under the protection of Bhishmapita. And Bhishmapita, being a very elderly brother, he takes care of them very nicely. And once they become good enough to get married, then Shantanu Maharaj gives the responsibility of getting married, both their sons, to Bhishmapita. Then Bhishmapita, it so happens that no, he goes to a particular kingdom where the king is having three daughters, no, uh, Amba, Ambika, and Ambala, right? So he finds that these three queens are very, very apt to get married to the two sons of Shantanu. Then what he does, he goes to this kingdom and there's a Swayamvar which is happening for these three queens. He defeats all the kings who are present there and he brings these three queens, Amba, Ambika and Ambala, to Hastinapur so that they can get married to Vichitra Virya. So, okay, so before that, this Chitragandha, so the other son, so basically Shantanu Maharaj is having two sons. One is Chitragandha and other son is Vichitra Virya. So this Chitragandha, it so happens that he engages in a fight with a Gandharva. So while going for hunting in the forest, so he happens to meet a Gandharva whose name also is Chitragandha. Then the Gandharva, he asks, no, he questions him that I am a Gandharva, I am having this Chitragandha name, and you are an earthly planet person, but you are also having the same name of Chitragandha. So just because they are having same names, so they get into a fight. And then finally, the Chitragandha, the son of Shantanu Maharaj, is killed by that Gandharva, Chitragandha, right? So now coming back to the story of Vichitra Virya. So Vichitra Virya, so Bhishmapita, he gets all these three queens, Amba, Ambika and Ambala. And then he asks Vichitra Virya to get married to these three queens. But it so happens that Ambala and Ambika, they're very much happy to get married to Vichitra Virya, who is the son of Shantanu Maharaj, who is the emperor of the planet at that time. But Amba, no, she hesitates to marry. She says that no, I am in relation with some other king. No, I like someone. So who is a king of Shailya. So I would not be able to marry Vichitra Virya. Then she asked Bhishmapita that no, from wherever you have got me, you just leave me in my kingdom so that I can marry my beloved King Shailya. And Bhishmapita, he apologizes that no, he didn't knew about this, and then he takes Queen Amba back to her kingdom. But when she is back to her kingdom, and when she goes to no King Shailya, that no, she wants to marry him, but King Shailya, he disagrees to marry Amba for the reason that no, Bhishmapita has he has fought against all the warriors and he has taken her from the Swayamvar. So usually in the Kshatriyas, so during the Swayamvar, either the queen chooses a husband for herself, or the Kshatriyas who are present, so they have to fight, or they have to show their prowess to prove that they are the best among the present Kshatriyas, and then they take the right of becoming the husband. So in the act, how Bhishmapita has acted, so King Shailya, he says that no, it is against the dharma, no, that Bhishmapita, he has come, he has conquered everyone, he has won you. So I cannot marry you now. No, it is against the principles of the Kshatriyas. So then Amba, because she gets rejected by King Shailya, then she has the only option of getting married to Bhishma Pita. Then she tells Bhishma Pita, now because you have done this act, no one would marry me. So now you have to marry me because of whatever you have done. But Bhishma Pita, he says that no, I have taken a vow of being a brahmachari. So I cannot marry you. Then Amba becomes very much angry because of the situation she's put in, and she blames Bhishma Pita for the situation, right? Then what Amba does is she does a lot of tapasya. She does a lot of tapasya to satisfy Parshuram, who is the guru of Bhishma Pita. She knew that if she is able to satisfy Parshuram, then somehow Parshuram would persuade Bhishma Pita to marry Amba, right? And after doing lot of tapasya, then Parshuram becomes very happy, and she puts her desire that she want to marry Bhishma Pita, and whatever has happened, and Parshuram should help her in getting married to Bhishma Pita. So Parshuram, he agrees that she would be able to do whatever it is needed so that she can get married to Bhishma. And then Parshuram, he goes to Bhishma, and then he says that either you have to marry her or you have to have a fight with me, because I have given her promise that you would marry her. And then Bhishma Pita, though Parshuram is his own guru, but because of the given complicated situation, and Bhishma Pita couldn't actually marry or accept the words of his guru, and Bhishma Pita, he engages in a fight with Parshuram. And no, it is mentioned that the fight goes on for a long time of 21 days. And at the end, Bhishma Pita, he takes his weapon of Pashupati, which is given by Lord Shiva, to attack Parshuram. And that's when all the demigods, they come and they stop the fight, saying that no, it doesn't look good on behalf of both Bhishma Pita and Parshuram, that being both such a good guru and disciple, they're engaging in the fight, and they ask them to stop the fight. Then Parshuram says that no, I being the guru, I cannot stop the fight. But if he says that he doesn't want to fight with me, then that is an appropriate situation. Then Bhishma Pita agrees to that proposal, and then he himself says that no, I don't want to fight with you further to Parshuram. To Parsuram. And then Bhishma Pita, he leaves, and then Parshuram, he comes to Amba, and he says that no, he would not be able to help her in getting married to Bhishma Pita. So that's when this Queen Amba, she becomes more angry, and then she does a lot of tapasya to actually satisfy Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, after being satisfied, gives benediction that after giving up this body of Amba, she would take birth she would take and who would be cause of death for Bhishma Pita, right? So this Amba, after giving up her body, she becomes the Shikandi, the character Shikandi in the Mahabharata, right? So we all know how Shikandi becomes a major reason for the death of Bhishma Pita, right? So when this war is happening, and on the day when Bhishma Pita pledges to Duryodhana that he would kill all the 5 Pandavas next day, and next day when he's engaging very furiously with Arjuna, we all know that how Lord Krishna, he asked Shikandi to come, and looking at Shikandi, who's actually a woman, but who has been brought up like a boy, right? All her life, Shikandi has been brought up like a boy, and she has been trained like a Kshatriya, right? But knowing that Shikandi is a girl or a woman, Bhishma Pita, he stops engaging like fighting, and he keeps his weapon down. And that's when Lord Krishna, he asked Arjuna to fire the arrows, right? And that's when Arjuna is able to shoot arrows at Bhishma Pita, and is able to pierce every section of Bhishma Pita with arrows. And that's when, no, that's how Bhishma Pita is lying on the bed of arrows here. But because Bhishma Pita had a benediction that he can have a Ichha Mrityu, right? Whenever he wants to leave his body, he could die. So he would not die immediately. He would wait for the Uttarayana, no, for the sun to go to the northern hemisphere, because it is said that when the Uttarayana, when suns goes to Uttarayana, when the demigods are all away, when a person passes away his body, then it is very auspicious, and they would go to the abode of the Supreme Lord, right? So because he had the Ichha Mitra, so he has waited, and during all this time, the whole Mahabharata has happened, right? So that's how this Amba becomes Shikandi and also the cause of death of Bhishma Pita, right? So now we could also see, how after Vichitra Virya, uh, this Amba and Ambala, they give birth to Dhritarashtra and Pandu. And there is a maid servant who gives birth to Vidura. So these are the three sons, right? And then we know how Dhritarashtra, who is being born as blind, though elderly brother, he would not be able to take up the uh, crown or the throne of Hastinapur, and the throne is given to Pandu. And then Pandu is having 5 sons, the Pandavas. Dhritarashtra is having 100 sons, the Kauravas. And no, because Dhritarashtra thinks that no, he's somehow not able to get the throne, at least his son Duryodhan should get the throne of the Hastinapur. And that's why there is a war between Kauravas and the Pandavas. Right? So we all know about this. And currently we are in a situation where Bhishma Pita is about to pass away. Right? And we see that there, when he is there in, on the field of Kurukshetra in the bed of arrows, he is assembled by all the demigods, all the sages, along with the 5 Pandavas, along with Lord Krishna. Right? So, till shloka number 8. So, till now, we have seen only till shloka number 8. There are about 42 verses in this chapter. So, we have just gone briefly about Bhishma Pita. So, Bhishma Pita is not only the one of the 8 Vasus, he is also one of the 12 Mahajans, right? So, in Bhagavatam itself, mentions about 12 Mahajans. So Mahajans are the personalities in the universe, in the Brahmanda, who are very knowledgeable of the Vedic scriptures, and then they know at what time, in what place, with what person, uh, what rule they have to apply from the Vedic scriptures, because Vedic scriptures are so vast, and everything whatever is mentioned in Vedic scriptures have to be done, but they also say that for a higher purpose this may not be done, right? So for example, uh, so if there is, like for example here, what episode we have seen between King Shantanu and Mother Ganga, so a father has to protect their sons, right? That is the dharma of a father. But because he has given a vow to Mother Ganga that he would not speak against her, nor he would question her, so he lets her, kill or drown all the sons, right? But generally, if you see, the rule is that we should protect, as a father, at least King Shantanu should protect. He cannot just let anyone kill them. But he let Mother Ganga, their own mother, to kill them. So now here we can understand that because there was a higher purpose and they were not getting killed, so we can understand that no, King Shantanu, somehow he let all of them die, but the 8th Vasu, or the 8th child, somehow he was able to save that child. Right? So similarly, there are so many rules and regulations, but someone can break a rule, but for a higher cause, right? So these things are not very simple to understand, right? Even in our today's life, the situations get so complicated that we don't know like what dharma to follow, right? So in a house, there is like a wife, there's a mother, there is like son or daughter, there is father, and there are so many things. Everybody has expectation from the person, like from the husband or the father or the son. And then he has to see that he has to fulfill all the dharmas. As a husband, he has to fulfill, as a son, he has to fulfill, as the father of a daughter, also, he has to fulfill. So during these times, it becomes very, very, what to say, difficult, or it becomes very complicated to know what thing to do at what time, right? So the Shastras mentions that these 12 Mahajans, they are the personalities who know uh, what to be done at what time. So they are so much learned in the Vedic scriptures that they can advise, or they know like what is good for anyone in the world, right? So one among these 12 Mahajans is Bhishma Pita, right? So now you can understand the position of Bhishma Pita, right? So there is Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, right? There is Kapila, there is Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, there is Prahalad Maharaj, there is Janaka Maharaj, and then there is Bhishma Pita, Bali Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami, and Yamaraj, right? So all these 12 personalities are said that they are the Mahajans. So anything what they speak, anything whatever they do, they're all of exemplary act. We cannot find any faults in them. So whatever acts Bhishma Pita had done, right? Those are all exemplary acts, right? So we cannot question Bhishma Pita, why he did take the part of Kauravas, why didn't he take the part of Pandavas, right? So people may have this question like, he should have been with Pandavas, he should have not have been with Kauravas. But because he was very much attached to fulfill his vows, so because he gave the promise to Satyavati's father that he would always protect the emperor of Hastinapur, so he couldn't take part of on the side of Pandavas. But still, from his heart, he knew that Pandavas were righteous, and they were actually the right people to rule the empire, right? So we would see now uh, from no after they have assembled, all they have assembled. So from 12th verse, Bhishma Pita, he has started to talk. He's addressing. So it is mentioned that when everybody is assembling, Bhishma Pita, because he know that everybody has come to see him, and so whenever someone comes to us to see us, to visit us, so obviously there is so much of uh, you know uh, respect we give to the person who comes to visit us, right? So we give them a seat to sit, we give them water, or we give them nice prashadam, something to eat, make them comfortable, and then we talk to them, right? But Bhishma Pita, because he was lying on the bed of arrows, and he couldn't do much actually to all the people who were gathered around him. So it is mentioned in scriptures in Bhagavatam that with his eyes and with his words, he was welcoming every one of them and acknowledging their presence and paying his respect to each of them, right? And from 12th shloka, he starts speaking to the Pandavas, because he know the Pandavas had come to talk to Bhishma Pita, and they're very much worried that now that the warfare has ended, and they're very much aggrieved with all the massacre or killing of so many people in this war. So he's talking to the Pandavas, especially the Yudhishthira Maharaj. He's saying, Aho kastam aho anyayam yadu yuyam dharma nandana Jitum Narhatam Klishtam Vipra Dharmachuta Ashraya. So he's telling that you Pandavas have faced so much of custom, so much of hardships, and so much of anyayam. right? And you are not actually, what to say, uh, you are not supposed to go through all this because you are all very deserved people. No, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Arjuna, Bhishma, Bhima, Sahadeva, and Nakula. So they are very, very, like revered personalities. They have not gone against dharma. They have behaved through their words and in their actions also very nicely. So they were not supposed to go through all these difficulties, and they have faced so much of injustice all their life, right? So if you see the life of Pandavas, from their birth, when they from their childhood, they were without father, and they have to be under the shelter of Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra himself, Dhritarashtra son, they were himself trying to cause a lot of problems. You just imagine you're in a house where the other person in the house is trying to harm you, right? So Pandavas have been they were going through all this from their childhood. They were staying with the people who were trying to harm them, and even after becoming adults, they have to go through so many difficulties and so many injustice, and they have to finally, before this war of Kurukshetra, they have to spend all their life in jungle and deprived of their kingdom, right? So that's why Bhishma Pita is addressing that, no, because of your character and because of the personality you possess, you don't deserve all this suffering and injustices. But yet, all these times you were what to say, protected by Brahmana, Dharma, and Achyuta, the Supreme Lord, right? So he's praising them. At the same time, he's feeling sad for them, but again, at the same time, he's also praising them that, though you have gone through a lot of turbulence in your life, but still you have taken the shelter of Brahmanas, you have taken the shelter of Dharma, and you have taken the shelter of Supreme Lord, right? So here we can understand that, the Pandavas, they were, the best of the devotees, right? But still they had to go through lot of hardships. But during the hardships, they never gave up, right? They never gave up on the Supreme Lord. They never thought, oh, we are such a qualified people, we are from the such a royal order, we are sons of demigods, but why should we suffer so much for no reason? No, they didn't think like that. So every time they were put into situation of trouble, they always not took the path of dharma. They always took the shelter of the Supreme Lord, right? And then Bhishmapita, he explains, that though you are of such a stature, but still you have to go through all these things, because Bhishmapita, he says that in his opinion, it is all due to the inevitable time, that everything happens by the plan of the Supreme Lord. No one can actually go against the will of the Lord, right? So if we look at the stature of the Pandavas, nobody can think that they have to go through so many difficulties all their life, because if any person goes through some difficulties, there would be some reason. But for Pandavas to go through all the difficulties, it was only to show the world that how the Pandavas, they were such a great devotees that even during the time of turbulence or problems or troubles, they were always uh, taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, right? And then from 18th verse to about 23 or 24, no, Bhishma Pita, he praises the Supreme Lord Krishna who is present there, right? So, of course, the other stuti also, he actually praises Lord Krishna, but here he praises Lord Krishna from 18th verse. So he says, give me some time, this is taking some time. Okay, so the translation goes like this. This Sri Krishna is none other than the inconceivable original personality of Godhead. He is the first Narayana, the supreme enjoyer. But he is moving amongst the descendant of King Vishnu, just like one of us, and is bewildering us by his own self-created energy. Correct? So Bhishma Pita is telling to Pandavas that no, this Lord Krishna who is living among us, don't be fooled. No, don't think that he's an ordinary person just because he is your cousin, or just because he's your well-wisher, just because you're trying to play with him, talk to him normally, eat together with him, right? Spend time together with him. No, don't think that he's an ordinary person. No, he's just trying to bewilder you because of his own creation. No, but he is the original personality. No, he is the Narayana. He says the word Adho Narayana. No? The shloka is not getting open for some reason. So here now we can see Esha vai Bhagavan Sakshat Adhyo Narayana Puman Mohan Mayaya Lokam Ghudascharati Nushu. Right? So Bhishma Pita is telling that no, this Krishna is Adhyo Narayan. He is the first person who has created this creation. No, he is Sakshat Bhagavan. But he has put you in moha. No, he has put you in an illusion that no, he's an ordinary person who has taken birth in the dynasty of Vishnu. Right? So he's trying to tell that no, the Supreme Lord has come as a human form in the dynasty of Vishnu, and he's moving amongst us like an ordinary person. Then he says, like Lord Shiva, Narada, Kapila, they all know his confidential glories, right? So here we can see that Bhishma Pita, after addressing the Pandavas, he talks about the Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna. He says that how Krishna, he has come as an ordinary person, and how he has personally come at that moment to give darshan to Bhishma Pita, because he is a very loving devotee of Lord Krishna, right? So many people would be bewildered with the activities of Bhishma Pita. They would not think that Bhishma Pita could be a devotee of Lord Krishna because of his acts, because he was always in the opposition party of Lord Krishna, right? Because if you see, Lord Krishna was supporting Pandavas and Bhishma Pita was always with the Kauravas. But we have to understand that though Bhishma Pita was with Kauravas, he was always in favor of the Pandavas, and he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. So we know that there are different personalities who share different rasa with Lord Krishna, right? For example, Yashoda Maiya and Nanda Maharaj, they share a parental loving relation with Lord Krishna. And if you see Hanuman or Sudama, right, they share a dasya bhav as a servant mode with Lord Krishna. And if you look at Pandavas or Arjuna especially, so they are in Sakhya bhav. They want to actually have that friendly relationship with the Supreme Lord. So similarly, Bhishma Pita wanted to have a rasa of a warfare with the Supreme Lord. Can you just imagine someone having a desire to fight with Supreme Lord himself? And he describes actually, Bhishma Pita in his prayers, he describes how when Lord Krishna, who had taken a vow not to take any astra, he would not take part in the actual fighting of Kurukshetra war, but actually took a position of a Sarathi, as a charioteer for Arjuna. And taking a position of charioteer is not so simple. It is not that a charioteer would not be attacked. Of course, a charioteer would not have an opportunity to counterattack because he has to ride the horse, right? So that is his primary duty, the warfare. He cannot see that, oh, that other person is trying to attack me, so I'll shield or I'll go and attack him. No, he has to serve the person who is there in the chariot, right? His only duty is to just ride the chariot and somehow protect the warrior who is there in the chariot, right? So in this case, he was always trying to protect Arjuna, but Bhishma Pita, he actually describes how Krishna is wounded. He's wounded with so much of arrows. The dust which has rose due to this warfare is completely on his hair, on his face, and how Krishna is looking so beautiful in that form, right? So only Bhishma Pita can actually admire that scene of Lord Krishna, right? Otherwise, all of us would want us Lord Krishna to be beautifully dressed up with a beautiful garland and ornaments, and probably in Bala Roop also we want Krishna to see him, or in a very in a very royal form we want to see him. But here Bhishma Pita is actually admiring the sight of Lord Krishna where he's engaged in the warfare. And he's so happy that when he's attacking Arjuna and Krishna, he becomes so angry that he know that Bhishma Pita could kill Arjuna. And just to protect Arjuna, Krishna just gets down. He takes a wheel of a broken chariot, and he's about to just hurl it towards Bhishma Pita just to save Arjuna. Then Arjuna, he runningly comes. He doesn't think that, oh, Krishna is trying to help me, he's trying to save me. No, Arjuna is also worried about Lord Krishna's vow. Lord Krishna, he took a vow that he would not take any weapon. So now he's picking up the wheel of a chariot and using it as a weapon. So Arjuna, he doesn't want Krishna to be blasphemed. No, he doesn't want anyone to talk ill about Lord Krishna, saying that he took a promise that he would not take a weapon, and now he's taking a weapon. So he reminds, he actually stops Lord Krishna to attack Bhishma Pita. But Bhishma Pita is so much happy looking at that scene, that he was able to make Lord angry so much that he made him to break his promise, and he was ready to attack with that wheel, attack on Bhishma Pita. And Bhishma Pita was feeling so happy because that was his desire, to see Lord Krishna in the warfare in that angry mood, right? So sometimes it so happened that like for example, my daughter, she becomes angry for something, but when she is angry, we love to see her. The way she behaves in that anger mood, it looks so cute and funny that we love to see that mood of my daughter, right? So it doesn't mean that we want to hurt that person, but it's only that in that bhav of anger, we want to still what to say, enjoy that sight of that person becoming anger, right? So similarly here also Bhishma Pita, he had that long desire of seeing the Supreme Lord in anger fighting with Bhishma Pita, right? So that's when Bhishma Pita was so happy seeing that sight, that he was able to fulfill his desire, right? Though the Supreme Lord took a vow that he would not take a weapon, but still to protect. Here we can see that now he's fulfilling two desires. Now he's showing that how he want to protect his devotee Arjuna, and at the same time he's showing that how he wants to fulfill the desire of Bhishma Pita also by breaking his own vow, right? So Bhishma Pita, he describes all these things in this prayers, whatever he's saying, that how the Supreme Lord, he has come personally because he knows that I am his bhakta or a servant, right? And then Maharaj Yudhishthir, after hearing Bhishma Pita talking, then he inquires, like how they should rule this empire and what and all they should be doing. Then Bhishma Pita, in a very detailed manner, he explains all the duties of different orders and statuses of life, like what a brahmachari, grasta, vanaprastha, sannyasi should do, or what a brahmana or a kshatriya or a shudra or a vaishya should be doing, and how a husband should lead a life, how a woman should lead a life, how a mother should take care, how a children should take care. So he discussed in detail about all the duties, how the subject should be protected, how the kingdom should be protected, and how it should be ruled, how it should be seen that no everybody is happy in the kingdom. So he describes in very detail to Yudhishthira Maharaj lying on the bed of arrows. And after some time, he sees that the time has come for him to leave his body, right? And at that time, Bhishma Pita, you know, he stopped all the activities. All his life, he has taken a role of a Kshatriya as an admin person, taking care of so many things. So at that moment, Bhishma Pita, he stops instructing Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then he meditates on the Supreme Lord, who is just in front of him, who has just come, to see him at the moment of death. And from shloka number 30 2 to 42. So there are 10 shlokas, which Bhishma Pita he recites about Lord Krishna just leaving his body. And at the end of 42nd shloka, Bhishma Pita he leaves his body, and then there's a description how the Pandavas and all the people who are present there, all the demigods, all the sages, they shower flowers, and there is a lot of music in the background, and everybody is praising the death or the passing of the Bhishma Pita. And it is such a glorious personality, right? Right from the start of his birth, as a son of Mother Ganga, and all through his life he has faced so many hardships, and he has been on the right path of dharma. He has kept all his vows, and now he is passing. So those descriptions are mentioned. And once the Pandavas they do the last rites or rituals for the passing of Bhishma Pita, so they all go back to the kingdom of Hastinapur. And then, so we'll see in the next chapter how Lord Krishna he departs to Dwarka, or he departs from Hastinapur. And after that, the 11th chapter also describes how the people of Dwarka they receive Lord Krishna. So probably in the next Saturday session, we'll see the departure of Lord Krishna from Hastinapur, and also arrival of Lord Krishna in Dwarka. So with this, we'll conclude today's session. So if anybody is having any questions, we can discuss for a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful session.
So anybody is having any questions?
Prabhuji, can we post Bhishma Stuti also in the group?
Yes, Mataji. So maybe anybody know how to recite Bhishma Stuti from Mataji's
I know,
group?
that's why I asked.
Okay, so I think last class we discussed about Kunti Stuti, which is posted by Lalita Mataji. So you can post about Bhishma Stuti. So maybe when we have time, we can learn them actually. They're very beautiful to recite, and they are so much of meaning. So maybe I also have to take some effort to learn the Bhishma Stuti. So you can post it, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sure, Prabhuji.
Okay, so if there are no questions, then
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
actually,
in the beginning, in the few first sentences, there was like Brahmaji observed that some king attracted towards Mother Ganga. What was the name of the king? I couldn't write. In the beginning, first few lines.
Maha Abhishek.
Maha,
Abhishek.
Maha I have written. Next,
Abhishek.
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 Yes.
Maha Abhishek. Correct.
So he
Thank you.
becomes King Shantanu in the next life.
Then in another birth he was King Shan. Correct.
Right.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
So thank everyone for attending this Bhagavatam session. So next
Hare
week we
Krishna,
will
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.